So here is a secret that I feel like most people don't want you to know. But when you're trying to create something, when you're going through the motions of trying to shift your reality, to create something new, to start a new business, to manifest a better relationship, you're working at the level of effect most times, not cause. And so what actually happens is you keep creating that same result just in different forms. And the part that is really hard for most people to see is you think you're creating your life through what you're doing, but we're actually creating it through patterns that we keep repeating. If effort changed things alone, then you wouldn't still be in the same situation. You wouldn't still be running into the same patterns and the same blocks, different people, the same dynamics, different opportunities, the same outcome, different goals, but that same feeling underneath. And so what this can feel like in real time is like, I'm doing everything right. So why is nothing actually changing? And this is the biggest like confusion that we get into. Control is not creation. And this is where most teachings get it wrong because they tell you the causes that you're not taking action, right? That you need to control the outcome. And cause and effect is not something that you force on that level. That's the surface level meaning of it. Like if you just apply enough pressure to your life, then it's going to become better and something's going to change and something's going to be different. But when we talk about these deep philosophical and spiritual laws, that's not the actual meaning of it. In Hermetic philosophy, the law of cause and effect isn't about forcing results. It's about understanding that everything you experience is being generated from something, not random, not accidentally, but from something consistent enough that it keeps producing that same type of reality. I'm going to give you a deeper explanation of this or try to go more into this so you understand. Cause is not something like you do once. It's not like, oh, I drank a soda and I got diabetes, right? Cause is the pattern that you live from. It's the internal pattern that you live from, and an effect shows up because of it. So you can change an action, but if it's coming from a same internal pattern, then you're going to recreate that same life just with different details. And so this is why you can leave a relationship and then find yourself in the same emotional dynamic all over again with a new person, right? Or you can make a lot more money, but still feel unstable and be and braced underneath it all. And so you could start something new maybe, and you feel that same resistance show up all the time. And that's because the cause didn't change. The deeper cause didn't change. Your situation did. And we so often mistake those two. And I'll tell you, this is where it overlaps with polarity too. And I did a video on that because you're not just creating what you want when you're wanting something, you're also creating a resistance to it at the same time. You know, I mean, so people think that they need to push harder, but what you're actually doing when you're pushing harder at the effect side of things is you're just reinforcing that same pattern, sometimes even faster. This has been explained in modern science. You can see it as a different way described if you look at modern science. Your brain does not experience reality as something new each time. It predicts and it references what it already knows, and then it recreates that pattern. And your nervous system is doing the same thing. So it's not wired. We're not wired for what you want. You're wired for what you are, for what your field thinks is familiar. So you will generate the same emotional states, the same reactions, the same relational patterns because those are known to you. It's just going to show up in different packaging. It's, you know, so even the physicist David Bohm describes reality as unfolding from this deeper order. This is where we talk about implicate order, where what we see on the surface is just an expression of something underneath at a much higher level, organizing it and unfolding it into what you're experiencing. So this isn't the origin. Where we are right now isn't the origin, it's the result. Which means if you're only trying to change what's visible, then you are working at the level of effect. And that's why it can feel like you fix one thing and something else shows up in its place, because the overriding pattern, the real true cause, is still active. So it's not, you don't have a lack of effort problem. You have a pattern that hasn't been interrupted yet. And what that leads to is burnout, because you are going to be forcing at that level of effect. It's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause burnout. It's going to look like you get close to what you want and then something pulls you back. You build momentum and you lose consistency. You feel stuck. You start to expand, but then you feel overwhelmed and unsafe. Those are all patterns. Those are all those same patterns that are generated from the causal level in a different expression. So it's about feeling those patterns, noticing those patterns, becoming aware of those patterns, not what you're doing. So what you force is what is going to be magnified. It's what you consistently generate from your baseline, your identity, what your system believes is normal. That field that I talk about, that is what is actually creating your life. So what does this mean? This means that you don't change your life by chasing new outcomes. You change your life by changing what is creating them in the first place. So instead of asking, what do I need to do to get what I want? And first off, want is I'll go more into that later when we talk about want or deciding. But instead of asking, what do I need to do to get what I want? You can go into a deeper question that what keeps recreating the life that I already have? Where am I repeating stuff? Where am I bracing? Where am I holding on to this same pattern, this same identity, even in completely new situations? And that question will get you a lot farther a lot of times than just asking what you can do to get what you want. And this is the part that most people miss, because it's not a forcing. You can't force your way out of a pattern. Force is often part of that higher causality, that pattern, trying to force things. Your life isn't responding to that. It's responding to what you keep generating. And until you can see that really clearly, you'll keep trying to change things at that lower level of effect while the higher cause stays untouched. So you are not truly stuck. You're just patterned, and patterns can change. That cause can change, but it's not going to happen by force. It's going to happen by awareness and interruption. And that's the biggest thing that I think is really misinterpreted when it comes to how we strive to change things in our reality, how we strive to create the life that we want, is that we're not working at the higher level. And that's where everything unfolds from. So you can do what you want on that effect side of things, in the lower force, in the control, in the, unfolding lower 3D way of doing it. Or you can actually take a look at where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? What is creating the reality that I've been in for so long?